Hello and welcome to Sideways. This week we're talking about trust, how easily we are able to destroy it and how it takes a lot more effort and time than we'd like to build it back up. Martin introduces me to the concept of knit bombing when I tell him about a crocheted postbox, and he also tells me about spending the night in an old people's home, which seems like a good place for him. There's confusion over a famous Hollywood actor, and neither of us can remember the name of the snake in Jungle Book. How to build trust. Good morning.
Morning. Can you hear me okay?
I can, yeah.
Excellent.
How was the farmer's market?
Yeah, good as ever. Good as ever. Very busy though today. I'm lucky I always get there just as it opens. So there was still a queue, but there was only about 5 people in front of me. And when I left, there was probably the queue was about 150 strong.
A queue was 150 strong?
It was, yeah, incredible. I haven't seen anything like it. Yeah, the lady caught me on the coffee stall again. She caught my eye as I was walking by, and she held up a bag of coffee that I don't really have. And I don't really need one, but I thought I'll have to buy one. I liked her style. And I did say to her, I'm amazed you recognise the people, especially with masks on. She said, no, I just got a good memory for that sort of thing.
The reason she recognises people is because you're the only person that buys coffee from her.
I think I probably am, because there's no one. I don't have to queue up at her stall. That's for sure. Although I did buy some tea from another stall, which is a bit of a. Yeah, I bought some chai tea. It's chili chai with turmeric.
Nice.
Now that sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah, isn't turmeric supposed to be a superfood? I mean, people take it for all sorts of things now, don't they?
No, it just sounded good. Like I experimented with the seaweed pate. I'm experimenting with a bit of chili chai with turmeric. So I'll let you know how it goes. I haven't brewed any up yet, so I'll let you know how it goes if you're even slightly interested.
Yeah, do, especially if it makes you go sends you off on some sort of a trip.
Well, that'd be bad, wouldn't it? That'd be pretty much against everything I stand for.
Yeah. So is that chai tea? Is that grown in Yalding or Aylesford?
I don't know. It's from the Proper Tea Company, and they're based in Pett in East Sussex.
Yeah,
so, but I'm not. Yeah, so perhaps they grow it there.
Have to go down and have a look. But it'd be good if you could pick your own tea. It would be quite good, wouldn't it?
Anyway, stop this inane chatter. We need to crack on, don't we?
Yeah, we do. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I've got a couple of headings. I had one of those situations where I was writing my notes down and I started on one topic and sort of deviated off to the next. That's a little bit of a mishmash. But I'm sure
that's quite unlike you, isn't it?
Well, it is really, but I think it sort of makes sense. And I'm sure you'll be able to edit it properly to make it sound like I'm meant to do it.
So what you're asking me to do is edit it so you sound all right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, can you do that?
Well, I do it most weeks, don't I? So
you managed to somehow, yeah. But anyway, I started off. I was writing these notes initially on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Which was by the time this goes out, it's a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I was inspired by some of the comments on the Aspire to Be WhatsApp group about mums. I mean, some were about mums that were sort of gone but not forgotten. I mean, we fall into that category, don't we?
We do.
Some of the other posts on the WhatsApp group were about some of the girls being mums themselves, and there's another particular one about how her relationship with her mum had changed, because it was about she's quite early in recovery and she'd been round to see her mum, and her mum sniffed her drink to see if there's any alcohol in it.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so it's sort of a trust issue, really, that was coming up at that stage, which is really what the thrust I want to talk about today. So it started off as a sort of Mother's Day thing. But just as a side on that, I remember we had a mother and son come into group together, which is very unusual. It's only ever happened once, which was, they both entered into recovery together. It was it was a bit tricky for them, I think. I don't think either could really open up easily when the other one was in the group, but there we go. Yeah, it's a bit of an aside, but yeah, it comes up a lot in groups about these trust issues. It's happened to me. It's not just mums doing it, but often partners or friends will pick up your drink, and I think it's they do it fairly innocently, really, but it can have a number of implications. I remember when it happened to me, and I was about 5 years in recovery, and I'd gone to the races, to the horse racing. It was horse racing day, and someone tasted my drink. It was just a tonic water to see if it had any vodka in it, and I was sort of aghast at first, but then they sort of made a joke of it, and they said, "Well, you're driving the minibus and that," and I thought, that's a bit cheeky, but I let it go. But I can understand that, mostly that sort of thing, it triggers anger in the fact that someone's not trusting you. And another thing is sometimes, it obviously does come from a place of caring. It's that trust, isn't it? It takes time to rebuild that. And that's the sort of thrust about what I want to talk about today, if that's okay.
Yeah, it does. That's it. So obviously it was someone you knew quite well who did that.
Yeah.
But does that, you say there, sort of, you kind of take it for granted that comes from a place of caring. Does that come from a place of caring? I think it seems to me to be a very kind of, if it does, you're probably right, it probably does. But if it does, it's a very kind of selfish way of caring about someone, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's clumsy. I think that's all it boils down to, really. Yeah,
I'd say that is pretty clumsy. I mean, you said that the feeling that you had was predominantly anger.
Yeah, well, it was only very fleeting, but whenever this comes up in group, which it does come up a lot, it does bring up anger, and it's normally those people that are early in recovery and are looking to rebuild trust with people, and they see this as a point of someone saying to them, "Well, I don't trust you.
Right.
I'm checking you out."
Right.
And I think that the other, we have to come to terms with the fact that it's normally, partners or family who have been really hurt.
Yeah.
And especially if we've said, "Oh, I'm going to give up," and you have several goes at going into recovery, and then you relapse and that sort of thing. It's not unfair to think, I don't think, that those people are going to have issues on that.
No, it isn't unfair to think it, but there's a difference between thinking something and acting in that way upon it, isn't there? I mean, this is an echo of a conversation we had a few weeks ago about boundaries.
Yeah, it is.
It's important when someone is trying to rebuild trust. It's important that you give them the opportunity to do so. rather than kind of step in and need your own reassurance faster than they are able to provide it.
I agree, but that's quite a difficult message to deliver. I mean, they often say that addiction is a family disease.
Yeah.
One person's struggle can affect everyone around them, and conflict can ensue.
Yeah.
And it's a very common aspect of recovery that does come up. There's very few people that come along whose partners or parents, whoever it is closely involved with them, will just get straight on board with it from day one, especially if they've been messed about with it in the past.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's so much a question of getting on board with it from day one, and I can understand that people would take time to be able to feel the rebuilding of that trust. But my point really is that when trust has been breached, I think everybody involved in that breach has to accept that rebuilding it is going to take time, and you can't shortcut that process. Whether it's someone who's early in recovery or if there's been infidelity in a relationship or whatever it is, if you have an intent to rebuild trust between you, then that's the important first step. And the second step is recognizing that you're going to have to do the hard yards. You might not be the one doing the rebuilding, but you're going to have to step back a little bit and allow the other person to demonstrate to you that they have changed. And I mean, I'll ask you this question. You maybe you're going to come on to talk about it, but I wonder what impact that has on the rebuilding of trust when someone steps in and picks up your drink and drinks it just to check that you're not drinking again. I mean,
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, that rebuilding trust will take time. And I know when we talked about this in the past about time being a great healer, it is, but not on its own. You've got to put some work in to make any sort of progress within that time frame, haven't you?
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say that I think one of the things that comes up sometimes is that really you need to earn your own trust first, don't you? Work from there. So start to trust yourself. Before, again, like we've talked about that in relationships, haven't we? Where you can't expect other people to love you if you don't love yourself. And I think the same's true with trust. I mean, I'm drawing that parallel just as a thought process, really. I don't know whether you concur with that or not.
Yeah, I do agree with that, and that is precisely one of the reasons why I would suggest that doing something like picking up someone's drink, however early they are in recovery, you are stopping them from rebuilding trust in themselves.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if it's one thing for someone else to give you a kind of message that says, well, I don't really believe that you're doing this. I don't really believe you can do this. I think that the dangerous thing about that is it starts to undermine potentially the recovery of the person who is in recovery, because in the worst case, that person then starts to think, well, I wonder if I can do it. You know, you really, I'm guessing, but I imagine that the people who are of most help to you when you're early in recovery are people who believe in you, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. But I think it's for me, it was about learning, sort of having healthy communication. It's a two-way street, isn't it, between you and the person you're looking to get to rebuild their trust with. Because in the part, during active addiction, you're completely closed down. You have no communication with people other than when necessary or if there's something you want. So it's a learning process on both sides. But I think, and also I felt that sort of maintaining contact with the people that I wanted to rebuild trust with. So it was like have a continuity of contact to try and alleviate the fears. So, I'd have set times that I'd speak to people. So just to sort of touch base with them so they could see how I was doing. Or they would call me just to see how I was doing. And so it was a slow process. But I think having this continuity was key, and I think it was. It's the absolute key, but it helped a lot.
But it's not just when you're. I think something else is at play as well, isn't there? Apart from just trust. So yes, you are inevitably going to have to go through a period of time where you're rebuilding trust with the people around you, your friends or your family or whatever. But from my perspective, I think trust wouldn't really be the right word when I think about you and drinking, because it's not a question of trust. If you started drinking again, I wouldn't feel you betrayed my trust. But what I have experienced over the years that you've been sober is, there have been times where that thought about you drinking again would come into my head. So, I might not have heard from you for a week or something, and or I'll send you a message and you don't respond, which is totally fine. But then that little thought comes into my head. I think, I hope he's okay. I mean, I do think like that. And if I know you've been going through a kind of period where things have been a little bit tough for you, I think, well, I hope he's all right. But there's a difference between me sort of thinking, I hope he's all right, and constantly checking up on you, saying, you're all right. You're not having a drink, are you? Because again, that's not about trust. That's about being able to step back and allow someone to live their own life. When you think about what essentially recovery is you taking responsibility for your own existence. Now, obviously, if you had a drink again after so many years sober, that would be pretty disappointing. But that would have been you that did it. I mean, there's nothing I would be able to do about that. I'd be terribly upset about it. But it's your life. Well,
exactly that. But when I was doing a bit of research upon exactly that issue, when you're trying to rebuild trust, I mean, how much do we allow the person we're trying to rebuild the trust with? How much of the boundary setting do we allow them, or do we set all the boundaries, or is there a middle ground? Because that seemed to me probably where we should try and reach when we're getting the dialogue going.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's difficult, isn't it, with drinking, because by its very nature, well, I suppose with anything that requires a rebuilding of trust, by its very nature, a lot of it hitherto had been secretive. So, you would be someone who would hide your drink or, pretend that you hadn't been drinking. So I suppose the question about where the boundary is or who sets that boundary is also dependent on the question of how do you set boundaries? What are those boundaries? And there probably are some, but I'm kind of struggling to think of what you can do much beyond someone saying, listen, I'm in recovery now, I'm stopping, I'm not going to drink anymore? I mean, what are you going to do? Look at, watch them all the time, check all the drawers in their bedroom, or smell all their drinks.
Yeah.
What, I don't know what you can do. I'm not trying to be clever. Tell me if there is something, but I'm not sure what it is.
I see it as for the regaining of trust can be greatly enhanced by when, for me, it was showing commitment to my recovery. And showing commitment to a sober life. So attending regular meetings, reading about my condition, and talking about it the whole time. And talking about sobriety and the joys of sobriety. And that tends to lend people then to start trusting you that you're on the right path.
Do you think...
Because it's sort of evidence-based at that point. Because they see you off to your meetings and you're on your Zoom calls and your online meetings, etc. And you're doing something about it. And you're attending the local recovery hub or whatever you're up to. But it's showing that commitment.
Okay, so I've got 2 questions.
Okay, ask me both of them.
Right, I will. But I'll do them separately, otherwise you'll get confused.
I will.
The first question is, which one do I want to ask you first? Okay, so that sort of demonstrative interest in your recovery, do you feel, or do you know that was something that, for example, helped your children believe in your recovery?
Well, that I was demonstrating that I was doing something. Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
Okay, so that's good. Then my other question is, don't you think it's also true, though, that some people in recovery will demonstrate those behaviours almost as a cover-up for, stopping people being suspicious of them?
Oh, yeah, you can, yeah.
It's potentially something, if you were of a particularly suspicious mind, you might think, oh, yeah, you're really talking good game here. But if anything, that's making me more suspicious.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good point, and I've seen it happen. I've seen people come into groups that have been in there for a number of years and keep going back out, lapsing, and come back in. They know exactly what to say. They know all the answers to the questions. They got all the tools to help them in their recovery, and they just don't use them. They say they've got them and understand them, but just don't use them. So it is actually putting them into place. And if people do hear that you are making phone calls when you're feeling, feeling a bit down and feeling you've got a bit of a potential threat coming along to your sobriety, and you're talking to people about it, it is that you can demonstrate it that way. And certainly the people that you're building up trust with, it's an honesty process as well. As you said earlier on, we've been dishonest for so long, and so it is going to take time for people to believe what we say. But if you do show that you are being honest and you're trying your very best on that, then you're going to go a long way towards it. It's never going to be 100% success rate, obviously, because there's too many other nuances to that and too many things in play. But generally speaking, going back to that point again, as time goes by, people can see that you look better. You start to look better, and you start to speak more eloquently, and you start to behave in a different way. And that's not something you can hide. That's something that will make up. If you're still drinking, you can't do those things.
Do you think there's I wonder if there's a kind of role for instinct here. When someone is in active addiction, even if they're hiding it quite well, I think people who are close to them know there's something that's off, right? There's something wrong, something. And sometimes people who are close to you don't want to admit it to themselves, whether they're friends and they've got a kind of vested interest in keeping you drinking, or whether they're partners or children, they just don't want to face it. And don't you think then the same thing is true in recovery, that if you really kind of tune into your own kind of instinct, whether what you're seeing in this person is genuine or not.
Yeah.
And I am asking that as a genuine question, because I know that when I work with people, not just recovering addicts, but really anybody, I can see the difference between someone talking a good game and saying, oh, this is how I'm feeling, this is what I'm going to do, and kind of feeling that actually is coming from a place of genuine change. And so I think there's kind of perhaps part of what helps us to rebuild trust is us being able to listen to our own instinct about the people that we know well that are in recovery.
And it's very easy to see. I mean, long you're in recovery, I can see instantly if someone's either on their way to a lapse or have lapsed and are hiding it up. It's even if I'm not in the same room as them, or if it just by the wording they use on texts on the group chat,
Right.
for example, or if they come onto a Zoom meeting, you can see with their behaviour. It's so obvious, and even if people were to deny it at that point, and sure enough, it will be a few days down the line they'd admit it.
But my question, I suppose my question really around that is, do you think that is just a function of being an old hand at recovery, or do you think it also is something else about people's kind of emotional intelligence?
Yeah, I think it's a lot about the emotional intelligence. So I think it is. It's the same. You went back to talking about rebuilding trust earlier on. You can trust your instincts if your partner's being unfaithful. In most cases, it's going to be correct. Because there's a behavioural change, and I think the same happens with people with their relationship with drink and drugs. Yeah. As soon as that the behaviour of that person is completely different whilst they're engaging with in that relationship or outside of it. So it is an instinct, but the instinct grows much stronger. The longer you spend in the recovery circle, as to who is going to. I can pretty much tell from day one who's likely to stay the course and those that aren't. I'm wrong sometimes, but you get a feel. You get a feel early on if people are just playing the game and are doing it for the wrong reasons. And I
hope you don't have a bet on it.
that would be a bit. That wouldn't suit really, would it?
Not really, no.
Suit. So I know you sent me that link of that chap who'd lost a lot of money gambling. I think it's from the Guardian, wasn't it? Was it a link from the Guardian?
It was, or the BBC, one of the two. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was one of the two, and it's just so sad. It really is when you see that pattern repeating itself. It's and again, it comes up in groups quite a lot, often as an addiction which is added on to the side of their substance abuse. But I think what's summing this all up really, I've got in sort of bold letters at the bottom end of this section of my notes is practice patience. It won't happen overnight. Get used to that fact, and that's the issue a lot of addicts have, because they want stuff instantly, as I did. I wanted recovery instantly, and I wanted relationships to be instantly fixed. And you learn that that's just not the case. Put the work in, let time take its course, and things will have a much better chance of turning out better, or for the best.
Yeah, I wonder if recovering addicts feel that they are in some way alone in wanting everything immediately. In my experience, anybody who struggled emotionally for any length of time, whether it be with addiction or anxiety or depression or whatever it is, they want to get better right now. When you recognise you've got a problem and you go and seek help for it, you want it to go away immediately. And I think one of the hardest things about recovering from anything is recognising that there are very rarely light bulb moments. There are very, very rarely things that shift overnight. Things take a long time to change. And when you're at the start, that usually feels too long. You
can't. It's a slow burner. The same as the drift into addiction was pretty much a slow burner. Coming out of it is a slow burner as well, and it takes time to walk up the hill. But it is. You're right. Day one when I went into detox. Day one I thought, this is it. I should be cured by this time next week. I'm back out in society, and away we go. And you just learn that's not the case, and they do drum it into you. Let it take it will happen at its own pace. Don't try and force these issues. So I thought it was quite. So I hope that sort of knitted together the two issues that I was trying to bring into the one podcast there.
I expect I'll be able to knit it together, don't you?
Well, yeah, you got the right needles, haven't you?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Crochet them up about right.
Actually, talking of crochet, there's a lady who lives opposite who does a lot of crocheting. Sometimes she'll crochet some poppies around Remembrance Sunday, and she'll put them on little gates and stuff around. And for Easter, she's crocheted a hat for the red post box. It's got lots of little Easter bunnies and daffodils on it. And I watch people every day come past it and stop and take pictures of it on their phone. It's really rather lovely. And
it is rather nice.
As a lovely segue, that's what I'm grateful for this week. And I mean, I'm not specifically grateful for a crocheted top to a pillar box because that would be ridiculous. What I'm grateful for is that there are people around who want to do things for the good of the community that is kind of selfless. You know, she doesn't get anything from it. She just crochets it, sticks it on top of the letterbox, and that's that. But it brings so much kind of, you see the kids coming past, going to school, and they're lifted up and they're pointing out all the little animals on there. It's a really lovely thing. And I think it's a joy that people, you know, have it in them to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, isn't it called knit bombing or something, or knitting bombing when they do that on knit stuff bombing. To go on? Yeah, knit bombing. It's when people knit stuff to go on public objects and
really? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it is, because you see it in the town centre sometimes. Yeah.
I don't really like that phrase. It's kind of pejorative.
It is, isn't it? Really, when it's
something negative.
Yeah, but knit bombing is normally is covering up ugly sites, in the town centres where there's rusty old poles and someone knit something up nice to go over the top of it.
Why haven't you got crochet over your head then?
I got knit bombed at the farmers market.
I reckon that old seaweed pate guy, he got knit bombed, didn't he? Someone did a massive crochet of a cod, covered his stall in it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The market is for the poorer without him there, so I'll not have you bad-mouth him. Thank you very much.
Oh, look at them! Just as I say that, someone's walking past and taking a picture of the post box.
I'll have to have a look at that next time I'm around that area.
Yeah. On
my gratitude list this week, I've been working over at a care home, and we've been redecorating they call it a sunroom and the lounge. And we've been working nights actually because it's just been easier, and some of the residents have gone off to bed. But I'm very grateful for the lovely nurses there that have been running around, bringing us coffee and biscuits and chatting to us and keeping their spirits up into the wee hours of the morning, around about sort of 1 and 2 o'clock when you're starting to feel a little bit jaded. There they are. And so I was really grateful. Although it was I was going there as a place of work and obviously getting paid for it, it was lovely to have those people around. So I was very grateful for those particular people.
Do you think that one of the reasons that the staff there bring you drinks and biscuits is because they mistake you for a resident?
Well, I think they're just lining me up. Like you go to a funeral director's, you go in there and they measure you up, ready for when it's your turn. I think it's a bit like that. I think they were sorting me out a room. Like, oh yeah, he can go there. That'll be fine for him.
You want to start worrying if next week when you're there, they don't just bring you a cup of coffee, but they bring you a pair of slippers and a nightgown.
Well,
come on, Mr. Pankhurst, it's time to get back to your room now.
Lovely. Shout it loud twice.
No one's stealing your clothes. We'll go for a walk in the morning.
Actually, there was one lady that she thought we were in her house, and she said, she was saying, I don't like what you're doing. That colour's horrible. I didn't ask you to come in here. I'm not paying you. Off you go. Which again was fantastic. That's
it. You're disturbing elderly residents. It's disgraceful.
Well, people don't like change, and you put a different colour on a wall, and that brings great consternation to some people. Anyway,
what colour are you painting the walls, by the way?
Well, the sunroom's obviously a sort of a yellowy sort of colour.
Yeah.
In the dining room, we had a dado row around the middle, so had a sort of lighter green on top, darker green on the bottom. It looked very nice in the end.
Yeah,
thank you for asking.
Don't do black, will you? Because that wouldn't go down very well.
No. I was going to put chalkboard paint up all around there so you could scribble on it as well. It'd be great. So that's it, really, apart from my Spotify search.
Oh, yeah. What did you put into it this week? Trust?
Well, there's a couple of things, really, because I veered off a bit. I mean, do you remember last week we were talking about our new band we're getting together called the Cardboard Engineers? Yeah, well...
I do remember that, although it didn't make the edit.
Did it not? Oh, no. Right, okay.
Oh, nice to know you listen to our episodes anyway.
I didn't. I remember us discussing it, but I didn't make it.
No,
anyway,
it didn't make the edit.
You'd be pleased that there isn't a band called the Cardboard Engineers, so we're ready to go on that.
Excellent, fantastic.
I've
written any songs? Have you? What's it called?
Yeah. The first one is called Never Trust a Therapist, which I thought was nice. You okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
How about you? You got any track titles?
No, but I'll definitely be penning one today. Yeah.
Okay. But the other one I did put in was, I put Mother in first of all. And guess what came up?
My song, Mother, from my album.
It came up. It was track 9 on your very fine album, Halfway Home, if I remember rightly.
That's a good track, that. Yeah. It's about my mum.
It is about you. It is a great track. I think you used it a little bit on one of our episodes, didn't you? As an intro and outro.
I probably did. I probably used it on Bereavement, I would think.
Yeah, you may well have done. Yeah. It is a good track. She died
on Bonfire Night. It was a bit selfish of her because I was in Brighton at the time on just about to watch Stereophonics.
Oh, were you?
Yeah. I had to come home.
That makes sense. And the lyrics about the Catherine wheels still turning in the lyrics. I understand that now.
November the 5th, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, when you put that in, when Graham Landy comes up, the next person there is there's someone called Graham Candy, right? And I like him better. I really do. He's my favourite now. He's great. He sounds a bit like Michael Rosenberg, who's his passenger, isn't he? Which is his stage name. He sounds very much.
I can't stand his voice. Can't stand.
And John Candy sounds just like that.
John Candy. John Candy. I thought you said Graham Candy.
Oh, sorry, Graham Candy. He sounds much like that.
John Candy's in Planes, Trays and Automobiles.
He is. Yeah, I got the candies mixed up then.
Uncle Buck.
So you look a bit like him, and you sound a bit like Graham Candy.
I don't look anything like John Candy.
No, you don't. No, not. Well, actually, no. We're thinking about it. Anyway,
You look like John Noakes.
John Noakes, bless him.
Actually, you look more like Shep.
Get down. When I put Trust in there, it's just too many things came up in Spotify.
Oh, yeah, I suppose it would do, wouldn't it? Because that would be a favourite topic for songs, wouldn't it? The lovelorn, writing songs about broken trust. And
there is. Well, there was one called The Myth of Trust by Billy Bragg, which I already knew and really liked. Yeah. And there was one Can't Trust Love by Susie Quattro. Not a very one of the very well-known tracks, but one of my early musical heroes.
Did you find any death metal bands called Black Trust or something?
No, I didn't. There was way too much in there to look at. But there's Trust in You by The Offspring, which again one of my favourite bands. A great track.
Not Trusting You from Jungle Book.
Oh, that was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What was that? It was the snake. What was the snake's name?
Khan. Was it Khan?
Is it Khan? I can't remember now. It's the lion, wasn't it? I don't know.
The lion? Was it the lion? Was it the lion?
I don't know. I can't remember, mate. Someone will put us straight on that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, does it? Really?
It doesn't. It's not going to not put much of a wrinkle in my day, mate. No.
We're kind of dripping on a bit now, aren't we?
You cut this lot out, won't you?
No, I shouldn't think so. It'll be more interesting than most of the stuff that you've been talking about.
I thought it was quite balanced what we said today. I'm feeling happier than last week's episode.
Well, good. Have you got what you roasting today for your Sunday dinner?
Well, it's going to be Chicken Day today.
Chicken Day. Okay, good.
Yeah, it was going last week, and I've got a chicken to be going on today. What about yourself?
I might make something with aubergines.
Okay, far out, dude.
Yeah, that's very outdated. Thinking that's hippie food. Thank you very much.
It is very outdated, and I apologise.
With some lentils and chickpeas.
Well, I'm not hippie at all because I'm going to be sitting there with some chili chai with turmeric tea.
Have you got some sandals that you can wear while you're drinking it?
Yeah, the soft cheesecloth shirt, the lot. It's all ready.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, enjoy your chili chai, turmeric tea, and your chicken.
Oh, well.
Oh,
thank you.
Well, you could probably make quite a nice marinade out of that tea for your chicken.
I'm done on that now. Thank you.
Let me know if after drinking it you have any more dreams about floating.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not hallucinatory. I'm sure it's not.
All right. See you later.
All right, mate. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Sideways was created by Graham Landy and Martin Pankhurst. If you want to read more about our work or sort through the extensive archive of past episodes, just visit grahamlandy-wellbeing.co.uk/sideways-podcast. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram at Sideways Podcast, and you can email us if you have a question or if there's something you'd like us to cover. But most of all, we want to tell you how grateful we are that you come and listen. And we ask that if you've enjoyed what you've heard, that you spread the word. And we'll see you next week.